10. Arianism. This heretical doctrine found expression in Arius, circa 260 to 336, and in Arianism. In Thalia, Arius struck out sharply against the idea of a final and only Christ and mediator between God and man. Many words speaketh God, which then of these are we to call Son and Word, only begotten of the Father? Athanasius, in citing this, called it anything but Christian, and rightfully so. The God of Arius was a God with no certain or final word. He spoke many words, and hence his truth was at least a changeable word, and at best an evolving truth. The possibility of an absolute truth was destroyed, and the priority of eternity was destroyed. Arius's God, like man, was seeking expression in history and working towards true order. Arius professed to have, as do Barth and others today, a high doctrine of the otherness of God, but his God was incomprehensible, not because of his transcendence, but because he was a God who did not comprehend himself. How then could man know this God of many words? The God of Arius had a real kinship to chaos. He is ineffable and the unbegun, not only to all men, but also, as Arius wrote in Thalia. To speak in brief, God is ineffable to his Son, for he is to himself what he is, that is, unspeakable, so that nothing which is called comprehensible does the Son know to speak about, for it is impossible for him to investigate the Father, who is by himself. The resemblance to the God of Kantian and post-Kantian thoughts is very real. How can a Son know a God who is, to himself, unspeakable, who cannot know himself? Of necessity, Arius must say, many words speaketh God. Not one Christ, but many Christs, because, not knowing himself, he cannot speak a final word or an authoritative one. Instead of an eternal word, Arianism held to a changing word. Accordingly, when someone asked them whether the word of God can possibly change as the devil changed, they were not afraid to say that he can, for, being something made and created, his nature is subject to change. The issue of this, Athanasius said, is polytheism. A God with many words and many potentialities is not one, but many, closely resembling chaos and the gods arising out of chaos. The Arian God needed the many words who were not gods, and yet, like many gods, in order to have any relationship to the world. As a result, the Arian quote-unquote monotheism ended up as a vindication of pagan polytheism. As Athanasius stated it, rather then will the Ariomaniacs with reason incur the charge of polytheism, or else of atheism, because they idly talk of the Son as external and a creature, and again the Spirit is from nothing. For either they will say that the Word is not God, or, saying that he is God, because it is so written, but not proper to the Father's essence, they will introduce many because of their difference of kind, unless, forsooth, they shall dare to say that, by participation only he, as all things else, is called God, though, if this be their sentiment, their irreligion is the same, since they consider the Word as one among all things. But let this never even come into our mind, for there is but one form of Godhead, which is also in the Word, and one God, the Father, existing by himself according as he is above all, and appearing in the Son according as he pervades all things, and in the Spirit, according as in him he acts in all things through the Word. For thus we confess God to be one through the Triad, and we say that it is much more religious than the Godhead of the heretics, with its many kinds and many parts, to entertain a belief of the one Godhead in a Triad. The Arians, believing history to be the determinative realm, were thus partial to any order which offered salvation in and through the control of history. They were, accordingly, statists, hostile to the independence of the Church, zealous for the power of the emperor, and deriving their main power from state support. As Athanasius said, "They prop up the heresy with human patronage,